Why most people stay broke forever. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to work harder every year, yet somehow never feel financially ahead? Their salary increases. Their lifestyle improves. Their apartment gets nicer. Their car gets newer. But their financial stress never really disappears. And after 20 years of working, they still feel one emergency away from a problem. The uncomfortable truth is that being broke is rarely caused by one big mistake. It's usually the result of a system that quietly consumes almost everything people earn. Let's look at a very common example. Imagine a 28-year-old professional living somewhere in the United States or Western Europe. They have a decent job. Nothing extraordinary, but respectable. After taxes, they bring home around $4,000 per month. At first glance, that sounds like enough money to build a comfortable life. But then reality starts taking its share. Rent is $1,500. Car payment is $450. Insurance adds another $150. Utilities and internet cost $250. Student loan payments take $300. Groceries cost around $500. Now we're already at $3,150. And we haven't included anything enjoyable yet. No restaurants. No vacations. No subscriptions. No new phone. No shopping. No nights out. No unexpected expenses. Once those normal lifestyle costs are added, the entire paycheck is gone. Month after month. Year after year. The strange part is that most people don't see this as a problem. Because everyone around them is doing exactly the same thing. The financial pressure feels normal. The debt feels normal. The constant waiting for the next paycheck feels normal. But this is where the real trap begins. Most people believe their financial future depends mainly on earning more money. And earning more certainly helps. But income alone rarely solves the problem. Because spending tends to rise at the same speed as income. A person earning $40,000 often believes life will become easier at $60,000. Then they reach $60,000 and start thinking $80,000 is the answer. Then $100,000. The target keeps moving. Not because they are irresponsible, but because human psychology adapts incredibly fast. What felt luxurious 6 months ago becomes normal today. The nicer apartment becomes the baseline. The upgraded car becomes the baseline. The expensive phone becomes the baseline. And suddenly the higher salary that once seemed life-changing feels ordinary. This phenomenon is sometimes called lifestyle inflation. And it's one of the biggest reasons people stay financially stuck. Let's look at a simple example. Suppose someone receives a raise worth an extra $500 per month after taxes. That sounds significant. But instead of saving or investing that money, they upgrade their car. The new vehicle costs $450 more per month. Financially speaking, the raise disappeared. The person earns more. But they aren't building more wealth. Their financial position hasn't really improved. Only their monthly obligations increased. Now imagine this pattern repeating for 10 or 20 years. Every raise becomes a larger apartment. A newer car. A more expensive vacation. A higher credit card balance. The income rises. The expenses rise. And net worth barely moves. This is why many people with respectable salaries still feel financially fragile. The problem isn't always low income. It's that every dollar already has a destination before it arrives. And there is another psychological force at work. Comparison. Most spending decisions aren't made in isolation. They're influenced by what friends, coworkers, neighbors, and social media make look normal. A person may not actually need a luxury SUV. But when everyone around them drives one, it begins to feel reasonable. Not extravagant. Just normal. Humans naturally compare themselves to their environment. The problem is that comparison can quietly turn wants into perceived needs. And perceived needs become permanent expenses. Over time, those expenses reduce freedom. Not immediately, but gradually. The real cost of unnecessary spending isn't the purchase itself. It's the future options that disappear because of it. The ability to change careers. The ability to start a business. The ability to take time off. The ability to handle emergencies without panic. Those opportunities require financial flexibility. And financial flexibility comes from keeping a gap between what you earn and what you spend. This is where financially intelligent people tend to think differently. They don't necessarily earn dramatically more than everyone else. Many do eventually. But that's not where they start. They focus on creating space. Space between income and expenses. Space between wants and purchases. Space between social pressure and personal decisions. While many people ask, "Can I afford this payment?" they quietly ask a different question. What future flexibility am I giving up in exchange for this? It's a subtle difference. But over decades, it creates completely different outcomes. Because wealth is rarely built through one brilliant decision. It's usually built through hundreds of ordinary decisions that preserve financial breathing room. And that's why most people stay broke forever. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're unintelligent. And not because they're doomed. They simply participate in a system where higher earnings are immediately converted into higher expenses. Without realizing that the cycle itself is the problem. The goal isn't to deprive yourself. The goal isn't to avoid enjoying life. The goal is simply to understand the trade-offs clearly. Because once you see the pattern, you can make decisions consciously instead of automatically. And that awareness alone can change the direction of your financial future. If you enjoyed this video and want more calm, reality-based insights about money and wealth, consider subscribing to the channel.